Okay, how's it going, everybody? I hope you're all doing well. Okay, so in this episode, I want to do something a little bit different and try to say something about Star Trek: The Next Generation. So one of the things that's pretty glaring when I watch the show is, well, the outright minimalism. I mean, first of all, there are no noises on that ship, right? And no distractions. Just the soft hum of the engine. Okay, but what I'm really getting at is that there are very few objects that decorate that ship. And the rooms of the crew members, they're completely sparse. Basically, nobody owns anything except maybe one or two items that are very special to them. Like in Captain Picard's case, a Shakespeare book or a small flute. A small Ressikan flute. Now, regarding all of this, I think that what Picard says in one of the episodes is really important. He says this. He says, "We've overcome hunger and greed, and so we're no longer interested in the accumulation of things." In other words, when everybody gets their basic needs met, and when everyone can get everything they want made instantly by the replicators, of course, then possessing objects in abundance just no longer holds any appeal. So, what's going to be emphasized instead then? Well, things like the intellect, creativity, and competence. Now, I know that we admire those things now, but it seems to me that we've still got a long way to go before we get to this 24th century ideal. I mean, it's hard to deny that ours is an age of rampant, conspicuous consumption, right? Actually, have we really transcended our Neolithic brain? Or are we really any different from Homer's world, 3,000 years ago, where your worth was expressed in your expansive land and your large bovine count? But anyway, so what is conspicuous consumption exactly? Well, what it refers to are goods that we buy, not of the sort valued for themselves and, well, inconspicuous, but rather goods that are made transparent to others and that are taken as markers of a person's success. Like a large house or a car collection or something. In other words, it's when we buy and accumulate large and expensive objects, not to connect us with others, or to even preserve and tend to these objects for their own sake, but rather in order to signal to others our status and our wealth and our power. Actually, this sort of rampant ownership over things crosses over into our relationships with people too, which is, of course, made evident by the sort of possessive language we use to describe these relationships. For example, we say things like, "That's my lawyer," or "Those are my workers," and so on. Okay, but to get back to the point about status and perception, it's interesting that there are some revealing studies out there that show that we're actually willing to take less money overall so long as we're making more than everybody else around us. So for example, we'd rather take a job where we earn $90,000 a year and our coworkers earn $70,000 than one where we earn $100,000 a year but our coworkers earn $150,000. In other words, then, what we do is we measure our worth in terms of our relative position to others. Anyway, so back to the point about minimalism. So is dispossessing ourselves of material objects a good thing? Well, my own personal opinion would be yes and no. I mean, On the one hand, I would say that materialism and the accumulation of things is absolutely no good when the things around you are totally disconnected from the constellation of your being or from the rootedness of your existence. And, when you simply surround yourself with things that are discardable and replaceable and constitute nothing but a quantitative surplus. Things, by the way, which are often the products of conspicuous consumption. And by the way, things which don't ultimately meet the promise of a happier life, due, of course, to that well-known phenomenon of hedonic adaptation. When the glow that comes with our purchase starts to fade, leaving us that much more dissatisfied and in need of something new again. Something new to get stimulated with. Okay, but on the other hand, I would say that so-called materialism isn't always a bad thing. I mean, it might be good to have objects and things around you if those things express and manifest and celebrate a part of who you are and where you're going and where you've come from. And maybe most importantly, if they promote solidarity. That is, if they connect you to others in a positive and genuine way. In other words, maybe another way of saying this is that it seems good when you have a personalized and not a depersonalized relationship to your objects. I remember talking to someone about what we would try to run in to save if the place that we lived in was on fire. Now, he told me that as long as he could grab his computer, he'd be okay. Well, I just couldn't say the same. For me, almost everything in there is, in one way or another, a part of me. It's my creation, my past, and my connection to others. Or in other words, what's around me is a manifestation of myself and my world of concern. And I think that concern is the key word there. I mean, maybe material things just don't have quality in and of themselves. Rather, maybe they take on genuine quality or value when they're cared for, when they enter into our orbit of concern or love. I think maybe the mistake that people make is that they acquire a bunch of stuff that might be, economically valuable, but they basically neglect it. And I'm not sure if it has any real value in that case. I mean, what good is a brand new fancy guitar if it's just sitting there, used as a sign of wealth? Now compare that to an old, beat up, financially cheap guitar, but one that you've used a million times and created songs with, and one that you've carried around with you through thick and thin. Now, how much more valuable is that? Again, real value is begotten through love, not through simple acquisition. But here's the thing. Like Aristotle, who tells us that it's impossible to have more than a couple of genuine friends in our life for the reason that real friendship requires sustained attention and sacrifice and effort. Well, so too it goes for those special material objects in our life. That's to say, it turns out that you just can't have an excessive amount of them if you want the things around you to light up and to have any real value for you. No, you have to devote yourself and to care. And to really care, like the care for your child or your friend, means that you limit what you bring into your life, thereby making what you have sacrosanct, whether it be an old letter or a tree trunk, or, in Picard's case, a Ressikan flute. Simply put, the less you have, the more you love. Bye for now.